Welcome back to Basin Motorsports. Canaan here for another week in the garage. So it's time to finish up the last of the interior on the wide body. Now, one of the things I really have needed to do is to get all of the vacuum lines in under the dash so that I could run the factory controls and have appropriate heat in there. I still do drive the car, and I do like having some heat in the car. No AC, obviously, but being able to use defrost, floor, vents, all that stuff really needs vacuum lines. So what I'm going to do is go through piece by piece, show you guys kind of the lines to where they go and then how to route anything. That way, if you ever get a car that maybe something's missing or anything else, you can say, oh, I know I can watch this video, and each line is color-coded and it goes to this place. And then once that's in, we'll assemble the dash back together, kind of the modular pieces all go in, get the dash put in, fasten back to the car, and get the last pieces in. So my vacuum tree is over here on the side, and what I'm going to do is use the original 5-liter line and pull the grommet up, snake this through, and that way when I run my one-way valve, this is normally over there, I'm actually going to run that inside the car under the dash. So what you'll have is one vacuum line running from your tree down into the grommet, into the one-way valve, and that way everything will be clean, tight, and I won't have to worry about anything external to the car or external to the cabin, anything to worry about. So we'll get the grommet pulled out, get this run in there, and then we can work just on everything on the inside. All right, so with everything now routed inside, what you'll see is that the vacuum line comes in here. This is the one-way valve, or the valve here off the 92. So I brought in a reservoir here, so flow comes in one way, and it's vacuum where it pulls out, so it's got a little bit of vacuum reservoir, and then it goes over here to the black. All right, so this is what goes in the back of your controls. So you have the black that comes in the center, which is the main part. You have a black with white that goes out, black with blue, black with red, and a black with yellow. So you've got one here that kind of loops around itself. And how these are routed, which is crazy, but the floor valve here that goes up and down, this is a black with white. You have the black with red and black with blue that run up, normally over, and then they run back to a valve here on the side, back here. Now on those, there's going to be one that's half open and half fully open. So the blue, I believe, that comes out, it kind of comes out and hooks up, goes to the blue, and then the red is the straight out. And before this went in, this noise cancellation piece here, I was able to fish those back up in there, and then they're just kind of stuck in there together. Now the black with yellow, which is this one here, is what goes on the back of the main body here. So this comes out, and then you can divert it to your defrost up and back. So this goes on the back of your dash on the diverter. So this is the piece here. So this goes there to shut that off. So there's the black with yellow goes onto this. And then I've got my dash here just kind of assembled with all the duct work. You can see that the carbon fiber pieces I've wrapped before, that's put in. And then these two are lightly set in there. Still looking for a gauge here for the oil pressure, but the carbon fiber is all wrapped, all done in there. And then I also have some trim rings coming because you can see that this is kind of boogered up and broken out. I've got some pieces coming from Metra that will go in the front here. You put your cage in for the radio and lock it in. It basically squeezes the halves together. And I'll do a separate install video for the radio just for you guys. If you need to do any of this, you can do those pieces. So I've got glove box separate. I've got the lower piece here separate that I'll need to put in. And I've got to order a new dash pad, which goes on the top here. And it's just going to go on. So what I need now is some parts. So I'm missing a temp cable. I'm missing the floor vents that come off the main piece here that divert air down to your feet. I'm missing both of those pieces. I'd like to get some new controls. I'd like to get a new oil pressure gauge. And my blower motor doesn't work. I've replaced it with a new one. So I think it's the resistor. I'm going to check that out and test it. So I'm going to try to make a salvage yard run and get some parts. So next time you see me, I'm going to be in the truck getting some parts. Welcome back to the channel. So it is a nice warm morning, and it was 8 degrees this morning. So it has thankfully warmed up a little bit, and we're going on a salvage run. So I have put up some forum posts here and there, and on Facebook and that, trying to find parts for the wide body to finish it. I need some new gauges, at least an oil pressure gauge. I need some HVAC controls. I'd like some better ones than I have because mine are kind of busted up. And HVAC temp control cable. So I know, well, I shouldn't say I know. It used to be the local salvage yard I go to that's like an hour away. Normally has like 5 or 6 Fox bodies. Same yard. If you've watched the other salvage yard runs, you know that there's usually 5 to 8 Foxes there. Different stuff from, I think, 80. I think the last time I was there, he had like a 79 or 80 Capri. He's got arrows, some coupes, hatches, all that kind of stuff. Well, the goal today is to go get some 79 to 82 or 84 parts to finish the wide body, so I can get it done, wrapped up, and then finish up some of the suspension if I get to it, and then just finish up some stuff on the water pump so it stops leaking. Now, you guys may think, oh, he's got that darn Chevy hat on again to go get Ford parts. Well, the reason for that is, the biggest reason for that is that the owner or the guy that runs the salvage yard really is not a Ford guy. So the fun part of it is that when I go in there and tell him I'm going to look at Fox body Mustang stuff, he likes to rib the snot out of me. He hates those cars. He won't sell them. I told him I'd come get all 8 of them and take them back to the shop and just basically part them out myself. Can't do that, won't do that, but he is a bow tie guy. So what happens is, I've already done this before, when I show up with a bow tie hat on, he goes, "Yay, dude, you're like a Chevy guy, right?" And I'm like, "Yeah, sure, buddy." I'm really just enthusiast, so it doesn't really matter. But what it matters is that he gives me better pricing on parts because he thinks I'm a bow tie guy. I know, it's deceptive, but look, at a certain point, I'm cheap. Don't forget that. I'm a cheap skeet when it comes to this stuff. So we're gonna head into town, get some parts, hopefully, pick up some lunch. It's my wife's birthday, so I gotta go get some flowers and a card. She's not the kind for jewelry. She does like flowers though, so I'll go in and get her something nice, and hang tight. I'm gonna drive into town. Can't use my phone on the way in, and then we'll get there. It is a warm 23, so hopefully it'll be at least by freezing by the time we get there in an hour. A little bit of disappointing news. Salvage yard was closed again. So I went on New Year's Eve, I think New Year's Eve day, and they were closed because of a holiday. So they took like a 5-day weekend on that. So missed out there. Now they've switched their hours when they're not open on Mondays. They're open Saturdays, so Tuesday through Saturday now. So I went and stopped by another yard that's associated with them, but that's open Monday through Saturday or Friday, I can't remember. Anyway, bunch of crotchety old dudes in there. They didn't have anything that I needed. They might have something for my Suburban here, but anyway, cool thing they had a Chilton manual on the old Nobody Cares shelf for $5. So I got a Chilton manual for a 79 to 88 Mustang Capri manual, which is now covers the full Fox body. I've got the other Chilton. So I've got great wiring harnesses and everything else, and it ain't too much of a loss. But now I've got to figure out another day to drive an hour in to go to this junkyard. So golly, man, trying to get parts. Trying to get these older parts some days is a challenge. Back to the shop. All right. Well, with the disappointing thing at the junkyard, I'll just have to sit on that for a minute. So I'm back in the garage tonight working on figuring out what is wrong with my blower motor. So what I've done here is, well, I'm basically jumping circuits to see what is not transferring power. So the blower motor itself was replaced with a new one. The resistor is usually what goes bad. You can find them that they go bad, and when they do, they don't have a ground. Basically, they won't allow your I guess the ground circuit to go. What it does is those resistors in there decrease and increase the voltage going to it. As long as you have a ground and the resistance goes, it basically allows power to transfer. What I have is my blower motor circuit. So black is ground, orange is positive. So it transfers power. This is a blue and green that comes out of the controls, and then this orange one here is my ground. Here's your resistor, so it is kind of an in and out backwards, and it reduces power down. So on the back of your controls, you have a fan speed that changes voltage in. You've got a ground here that goes down to this connection point on your piece here. So it kind of loops down through all there, and it grounds out to this main bar that attaches in the center, and then attaches over here on the side when you put your dash in. Now on your power coming in, you have two circuits coming in. So your brown here is your in, your blue is your out, and your blue goes down to here, which is your blower motor. So if your brown is transferred from here to your brown is from your fuse box to your blue and down in. If you have a good ground, what happens is your blower motor runs. And then your switch down here to your resistor is going to change your speed. Where I'm having trouble is that I can't get my brown to go to my blue, and that is controlled by my controls here. That's the fun part. Alright, so if I hold this beam over to the side where it's grounded, and I've used a jumper, so I've used a piece of wire that is actually larger than the pieces coming in, so I don't have any resistance in there. You can hear my blower motor running. Now my switch will work. You can see it's kind of a different pitch. That's just a different piece. So that will work. It works fantastic, which means my controls are not transferring power from one circuit to the other is my problem. My resistor works, my blower motor works, everything's good as long as I have a good ground, but my controls will not transfer that power. So what that means is that my controls are probably the problem to this whole thing. Really, it's not the resistor. That's what I've been looking for. So it's really probably the controls that are causing me the issue. So there's definitely some ways to get around this. One is going to be to get a new set of controls, which is why I want to go to the junkyard so I can get that and the cable and oil pressure gauges and all that kind of stuff. The second piece to that, I can wire around it. So I could put in a heavy-duty switch that, I can just flip a switch, which means it'll transfer power from one to the other. There's another way around it, just to basically hardwire it in, jump it on the back like I have, and make that a permanent connection where it goes one to the other, which means my blower will always be on as long as the key is on. So I'm going to try to do it with controls. I'm going to try again to get another set. And it's been more difficult than I thought. I thought, these things were going to be out there and around pretty easy, and turns out not so much. So I guess I got to think about it. I'm going to take one more shot next week at getting some more controls, and then, well, I've got other stuff to fix. So I may end up kind of hardwiring it in there so that it works, and I can have some ventage. I've already checked. You run the car, it pulls vacuum, it will change from floor, defrost, all that kind of stuff. So I know that's good. It's just a matter of now chasing that power down and getting the last bits of the fuse box reconnected and where it should be. And then it's a matter of throwing the dash in, wiring in a radio from scratch, because there are no wires to any of that for the speakers. And then, by golly, we're almost done. Okay, so with that, I think I'm going to leave you with this week. While I don't feel like I've made a lot of progress, I have made a lot of progress. The dash is all assembled, pretty much ready to go, other than a couple wires now and finding a couple parts. This baby is ready to be put back together, and I can get that part done and then kind of move on to fixing a couple leaks up in the engine bay that have happened. Well, you know, everything's 30 years old plus, and then I can move on to other stuff that I want to do this winter. So as always, thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. Everybody that's new, I appreciate you stopping by, whether you're here for the 86 or finish up on the 80 and the next phase of that. You'll notice I did do a playlist for the 86, so that'll start showing up on the main screen, and it'll probably go pretty fast. Starting to get parts in for that, and it will go pretty darn fast, I think, to get it all done. It's just a matter of how much of a mess I'm going to make in the shop doing all the paint stuff. So with that, I think that's going to be it for today, and we'll see you next time. Got some parts on the way, and we're going to get this thing wrapped up. So as always, we'll see you next time.